Do you like my YouTube videos? If you do, please leave a comment and actually click on the like button. And if you want, you can hit subscribe. That way you can stay up to date with all my YouTube videos. Hey, and go ahead and click that bell icon to be notified. Thanks. Take care, guys. Alright, Reptile Rescue family. Here's Artemis. We're going over her vet trips. We know we saw gas on the x-ray. So I went over the tricks, the vet, hey, let's give her some liquid supplement. Let's make sure her stool is wet. Let's also hydrate her. And let's give her laxative. Perfect, fine. We want to get that gas out of there. So we've been doing that. We can see she's passed a couple urates, a little bit of stool there. But I did also give her some dubia roaches. I got to make sure there's some mass in there. But we want to get things working. So what are the other steps we're going to do? And this goes for any lizard. Gas is the silent reptile killer. Okay, it can lead to them all of a sudden not moving, and then eventually everything ferments and they just rot and they die from internal stuff. And normally it's not too hard to deal with, and 99% of the time it doesn't require surgery. So the one thing is, laxative is great. It could get them to fart. It could get them to pass the stool. Maybe the stool is causing a blockage. You know, things like that. There's other things we need to do, though. The hydration's important. But the next thing we want to do is give them a soak. And we have to remember that at the end of the day, this is going to end, if we don't get that gas out of there, with a Vaseline finger right up the butt. And we're going to try to do everything first to prevent that, but also sometimes, what if you're doing this with a smaller lizard where you can't get a finger up the butt? What do we have to do then? We'll talk about it. But so step one, we're going to soak her in warm water bath. This is going to give her the option to drink some water. It's going to help her relax. It could stimulate going to the bathroom, which is great. And also that water pressure is going to displace her pressure and alleviate it, making her in less pain or more likely to pass things easier. So let's get her in her tub, which has got warm water in it. All right, here she is. Now she's just in. Let's hopefully she relaxes. I kind of wanted to isolate her to this tub rather than the entire bathtub, which normally they get, only because if she does poop, I really want to be able to isolate it and get a good look at it. Now let's remember, though, she's a monitor lizard, and like most monitor lizards, what do we got going on here? Are we gonna have a poop right away? Tail is up, even though it's on the side. She did that. Back legs are spread, but let's see. So, but remember, being a monitor lizard, something that they do is huff and puff and inflate themselves. So we have to make sure that anything she's putting in her lungs, we don't mistake is that gas that's in the digestive tract. So remember, the lungs are here and the buildup of gas is here. So that's what we're going to look for. So she's puffed here, but we're concerned about here. So we're just going to leave her in this soak probably a half hour, and then we'll come back and I'll show you guys what we do next. Okay guys, this next part is sometimes kind of funny when people see it. I like to do this on my bed. Keep in mind I stack the papers. She's on a heating pad. This is a heated, weighted, and vibrating heating pad. It has two motors here and right where her stomach is. And she'll bury her head under the, most of my lizards, they'll bury their head, right? Because if you can't see them, we can keep her nice and warm, and then also we can just try to vibrate, try to get any of that stool out of there. So we're just going to leave her on this for about a half hour. Hopefully she farts. I think she farted a little bit in the bath because this area is looking significantly thinner now and not as hard. But as you know, we may be getting to the probe. But this is good even for small lizards. Now people will say, well, it's too big. Yeah, but you know, when the motors are localized to an area, let's say you had a leopard gecko. If you put them just on the side of the motor here, you can even isolate a bearded dragon, a large monitor. You're targeting the gas You want to get it stirring around that way. Boop, it comes out. Let's see what happens. Okay, here's Artemis. So I put her on for an hour on the heated massage. 15 minutes on low, 15 minutes on medium. I kept the heat on low the whole time. And then 30 minutes on high for the vibration. You can look at her side here. Look how it's all floppy. She was next to me in bed, and I was working, and with that vibration, she was farting up a storm. Guys, it was horrible. You would hear her fart. She was farting. You would smell her fart. And I don't know if she was pretending she was asleep. You know, people have told me girls don't fart. I don't know about that. But what I'll tell you is she's definitely a lady, and she was farting. So, she has not eaten like this in a little while since the gas has built up, right? Because she felt full, you feel bloated. So, sure enough, with all that gas gone, she's like, I need to eat. Now, the biggest thing to check here, everyone, and again, this is to check your lizard, right, is does that gas return? So she's on a dubia roach diet. Maybe the dubia roaches give her gas. That's what we're going to be looking for. So I still have laxative left over. So if she's going to eat all this, and if she doesn't, you just love seeing the loose skin over there. She's going to eat all this, and if she gets bloated again, then we know something's going on here. It's the dubias. If it's the dubias, we'll change up the diet. We can go to fish. You know, here's the thing, there's more expensive diets, but I don't care. You have to do what is right for your pet. And there's Big Bertha just taking a huge dive into the water. There's her just S-ing it down. So we'll look again, check her stomach out, see if she needs to lose gas. If there is gas again, it can only be caused by the one thing she's eating. This is why I do normally mix into their diet dubias, chicken, fish, but since we had the gas incident, I'm going to wait and feed only dubias until she has a bowel movement or until I've given it enough time and I see that she's gassy again. If she's eating the dubias and she's fine, I'm going to continue the dubias and I'll put the salmon back in rotation. If she gets gassy after that, we know it's the salmon, and I'll do the same thing with the chicken, etc., until we can, process of elimination, find out what was giving her all that bloating. But she looks good. She looks great. I'm glad this wasn't needed. But yeah, that's the last result. Not that it hurts them, but you know, you got to think they probably don't like a pinky finger in the butt. And again, like I said, you can get away with it for larger beardies. What about smaller beardies? You can use rubber hoses, you know, soft plastic straws, something to get in there and just open it up and let the air escape. All right, guys. Glad she's doing well. I hope all you guys are doing well. Take care, guys. Thank you guys for supporting my reptile rescue family.